This is 7.5 Radio with Walter Yerkew and Peter Scoop Stanton. This is the radio show that will break your neck, if your neck needs breaking. And here are the hosts of 7.5 Radio, Walter Yerkew, star of the biggest documentary movie ever made, The 7.5, and Peter Scoop Stanton, who starred in To Catch a Predator.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Peter Scoop Stanton with Walter Yerkew on 7.5 Radio. Please check us out at 75radio.org. That is the number 75radio.org. We are red hot and rolling tonight on the 4th of October, 2025. Walter, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fairly well. Thank you for asking.
Outstanding. Anyways, Mike is taking some well-deserved rest. Poor guy's working his ass off, burning both ends of the candle, as the saying goes. Anyways, I just barely got into the tastefully decorated and spacious room in my house for the show. I was at the place called Nova Live, hanging out with the lovely Alessandra Griffith and watching Under the Covers band play. But I wish they just play some more Grand Funk Railroad and Quicksilver Messenger Service. I had to leave hastily so I can come here and do 7.5 Radio. But anyway, shout out to Under the Covers for another great set. And also shout out to the lovely Alessandra Griffith for just being a great person and a great mom and a great friend of 7.5 Radio. Well, why is it I hang out with beautiful Brazilian models and you and Mike don't?
I don't know. I'm taken.
Oh, well, anyways, I'm not. But anyways, moving right along. I want to say
that's why you're allowed.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But anyways, we want to say hello to all of our special listeners, including Little Billy Keebler and the men and alleged woman of the Yanadasas New York Fire Department. Also, we want to say hello to New York's finest, New York's bravest, New York's boldest, New York's strongest, and those living on Long Island in the 2nd Congressional District. First order of business, as always, we want to remember members of the law enforcement community who were murdered in the line of duty. Tonight, we remember Sergeant Scott Hyman of the Hayes, Kansas Police Department, end of watch, September 28th, 2025. His killer thankfully committed suicide. So we got a hell of a week this week, starting with the Secretary of War. Donald Trump renamed the the Department of Defense, or DOD, to the Department of War, or the War Department. And Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who we support 110% and very happy with his results as a Secretary of War, he held a meeting with all of his senior flag officers and senior non-commissioned officers in Quantico, Virginia this week. And the moral of the story is FAFO. Fool around and find out. Now, the first F for Foxtrot does not mean fool. It means something else, but we can't say it here on 7.5 Radio. Anyways, what the Secretary of War said, first and foremost, said no more beardos. For some reason, members of the service were able to grow facial hair, which just looked actually ridiculous in these uniforms. But he met with these top officials, both commissioned and non-commissioned officers, and basically said that the days of the woke, transgender, DEI, fat, sloppy, green energy military are over, effective immediately. And when I was in a quarter century ago, I was a straight-up dirtbag, and I considered my good conduct medals the haven't got caught medals. But if Seaman Stanton was in today's Navy, I would be up for sale of the quarter every quarter during the year. But anyway, some of the highlights of Secretary Hegseth's speech included no more DEI, all members of the military will maintain physical fitness standards. You got GIs out there looking like Santa Claus. Promotions and advancements will be based on merit. Again, no more DEI, no more promoting just because of the first female, the first person of color to be in that position. Uniform standards will be upheld, including no beards, no transgender GIs, which meaning you come in as Timmy and want to become Tina, guess what? You're going to be given discharge papers. No more operations. Drill instructors will be able to use some salty language and put hands on recruits as necessary. So the days of Gunnery Sergeant Hartman are returning. And again, a quarter century ago when I went through, my complaint was boot camp was not tough enough because they let these degenerates just slide through. Also, no more celebrating Pride Month or ethnic minority months. Again, everything's uniform. And those who cannot comply or will not comply will be sent home. And to me, this is one of the best speeches in American military history. It's up there with George Patton's speech to the Third Army. And Hegseth even mentioned Old Blood and Guts because I am a huge fan of George Patton. But this is exactly the shot in the arm that the military needs. Joe Biden just absolutely decimated, absolutely destroyed, and made a joke of the American fighting man. Well, what say you about Pete Hegseth fixing the Department of War?
Well, there's not much more I can add that you haven't already said. I agree with you. Not only our military has become a laughing stock, a lot of our law enforcement are in the same boat. When I was on the job, I was a heavy smoker, but I was always in good shape. I could run a couple 3 miles. Pulled weights up and down on the weight machine. I ran at least twice a week. I mean, you don't have a whole lot of time, but I kept myself in decent physical condition. I didn't have to put more holes in my belt, to hold my pants up, and I didn't have to put more holes in my gun belt. I didn't have to buy bigger pants. So what we're talking about here is we need a military that can defend us. That's the whole point of having a military, not pacifying some deranged person that, wants to be in the military, born a man, but wants to be a whack. So we need people that we can depend on that are going to fight for what's right. Again, same thing in law enforcement, and I hope they get around to it. The DEI, it really has taken the forefront of what we really need. What we really need are men and women that are men and women that have nothing else on their mind about, do I look okay if I go into this building? Do I look okay I'm not going to look good if I get at it when I get out of that foxhole. We don't need prima donnas. We don't need glam shots. We don't need people like that. We need people with heart. And Mr. Hegseth has already expressed this a long time ago. And finally, it's been said out loud. A lot of people don't like it, but hey, look at the history books. Look at the history books. You have men and women that fought as men and women, not men that fought as women, and vice versa. You have to have dependability on what your defense is. And we're always on defense, it seems like. There's 30 years. We're always on defense. So knowledge is key. Physical abilities are key. And leadership is key, leading those. And that's what Mr. Hegseth is all talking about.
You're absolutely right. So, anyways, we come back. We'll talk about Mad Maxine says the quiet part out loud. Also, Don Lemon hates Whitey. And also, it's a special time for the radio industry. Stay tuned, everybody. This is 7.5 Radio on Living News Radio Network.
In the medical field, IT security is crucial. Our highly skilled consultants are HIPAA certified and have 20-plus years of experience servicing medical clinics, billing, and supply companies. We offer comprehensive endpoint protection, guarding your computers and servers against all stages of threats. And with our 24/7 monitoring services, you'll never worry about extensive downtime again. Ready to level up your IT support? Call 801-706-6980 today and discover how great IT services can be with managed IT services.
As the United States boldly stepped forward in the glorious light provided by its new Constitution in 1787, the nations of the earth were in awe of the newfound strength and hope of this free land. Today, the nation stands at a crossroads. A divergence from the original intent put forth in the United States Constitution has brought grave threats to our beloved nation. A miracle is needed if the United States is to survive. That miracle is again the pure application of the United States Constitution. I'm Scott Bradley. In my To Preserve the Nation book and lecture series, I bring forth truths that will help raise up a new generation of statesmen like those noble Americans who founded this land. Vigorous application of these principles will invigorate and restore the nation, and we may become again the freest, most prosperous, most respected, and happiest nation on earth. Visit topreservethenation.com to begin that restoration.
Step into the boots of the American West with Range Magazine, where grit meets grace. This is a front row seat to the stories, struggles, and triumphs of ranchers, farmers, and stewards of the land. From jaw-dropping photography to no-nonsense reporting, Range brings you the untold tales of life on the range. Whether you're a city dweller with a cowboy's heart or living life where the pavement ends, Range speaks to the soul of the West. Subscribe today at rangemagazine.com.
You're back, and Scoop is just getting done staring at Danila's Instagram account. Here's more 7.5 Radio.
All right, we are back. Scoop Stanton with Walter Yerkew. Now, on October the 1st at 12:01 a.m., the federal government shut down once again because the Democrats just don't want to, they don't have the American taxpayers' interest at heart. What am I talking about? Well, a young journalist from Mike Lindell TV asked Representative Maxine Waters, or Mad Maxine from California, if the Democrats are shutting down the government to provide health care for illegal aliens. Now, she gave one of these typical spin zone answers, she answered the question without answering the questions, but more or less she said she wants to give, the Democrats want health care for all. And so, for some reason, since the Democrats lost, they lost the union vote, they lost the blue-collar vote, they're losing the black vote, they're losing the Hispanic vote. They're losing, just about everybody. The only people they have on their side are the elitists. So the Democrats they want to refund or start funding health care for all, i.e., illegal aliens. And we saw for the past 4 years how that worked out, which is absolute disaster. So, anyways, kudos for this young lady being able to go up to the crypt keeper, because I'm looking at the picture of Maxine Waters. She looks absolutely horrendous. She's in her 80s. She's got this, her wig's terrible. is trying to justify giving illegal aliens health care. Meanwhile, it's their district's the ghetto. Walt, what say you about Mad Maxine and saying the truth out loud?
You know, she's the reason why there should be limitations holding an office. Some of her predecessors and some of her former workers are in their golden years. One or two have passed away in the past year or two, and then they tried to carry on a legacy. Well, so-and-so. Like if Maxine dropped dead tomorrow, there'd be some idiot saying, we have to carry on Maxine's legacy, because it's the right thing to say for them, for that party. She's not very smart. She's like an 80-year-old AOC. And Mr. Kennedy, from the great state of Louisiana, said it correctly when AOC was the reason for directions on a shampoo bottle. Same thing here with Maxine Waters. It's just a horrible person saying mean things. Well, it's freedom of speech. That's fine. But she's speaking without reaching anybody except for, the handful of people that believe in her. And, and they're, the reason for directions on a shampoo bottle also. So, would you consider the source of the strength? There's nothing there. Nothing. Like you said, blacks are falling off the Democratic ticket. Hispanics are falling off. Even Democrats are falling off the Democratic ticket. And the league leader in that is Fetterman from Pennsylvania. So, the more they spew, we know the more they're trying to, it's an illusion. It's like watching a magic show. The illusion is look at my right hand, don't look at my left hand. But if you watch the left hand, you'll see the trick. And we see the tricks. So they insist that there's no tricks. Like they're not giving any money up for the illegal medical coverage. Mr. Trump saved how many millions of dollars through Doge the first 5 months of his office? So why is the government shutting down? You say so. It's all a diversion,
right? And if you think about it, what is the platform of the Democrat Party? What the party for illegal aliens? They're the party for DEI, which is just absolute abomination. We'll talk about that later about Des Moines, Iowa. The party about letting China dump all their goods into the United States while we get nothing in return. They're the party about shipping our jobs overseas while we bring in illegal aliens to work in the factories and the slaughterhouses that used to provide great jobs and great benefits. They're the party of crime. Everybody's in Chicago and everybody in D.C. is absolutely ecstatic about the how the National Guard and the federal law enforcement have been cleaning up the streets. And I've been I've been around D.C. and I can honestly say D.C. is much safer. So they're complaining like we got too much National Guards. The streets of D.C. are too safe. And then you got those two idiots up in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago and the governor, J.B. Pritzker, saying, "Oh, we don't need the National Guard." Meanwhile, every weekend it's Dodge City in the Windy City. And think about this: about a quarter century ago, Chicago had over 3 million residents. Now, 2025, they have 2.7 million residents. 300,000 people left Chicago or expired because of the policies of Chicago. So these people are just something else. They don't. I don't know where. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, who wants this? Who wants a crime-ridden hellhole of a city or a county or a state? Who wants DEI? Push people up because they're a certain gender or a certain color. Who wants males in the female locker rooms and bathrooms? Who wants good pay in factory jobs move outside our borders? Who wants illegal aliens coming in and just totally undercutting the blue collar people? People who are not affected. The Democrats. These people live in Georgetown. These people live in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. These people live in Orange County, California, and Marin County, California. They're not affected by it because they got theirs already. A bunch of trust fund babies. Anyways, anything else before we move on to our next genius?
No, I've had enough of Maxine Waters.
Anyways, we go from Mad Maxine to Dumb Donnie. Don Lemon, who was fired by CNN, who's a multimillionaire. Man, if we got paid what we're worth, we'd be making Elon Musk money, but that's something else. Anyways, Don Lemon, he has an issue against white men. Walt, you want to say anything about his hatred towards the white males?
Well, Don Lemon has always hated whitey, unless they're in his hiney.
Anyways, with that being said, Don Lemon once again decided to go on his YouTube channel with hundreds of subscribers and talk about white men behind the trigger in the murders in Michigan, North Carolina. But he forgot to mention the shooter in Utah and Minnesota, who were both white men. But here's the thing. The shooter in Utah that took out Charlie Kirk, and then the shooter in Minnesota that shot up kids in the church, were both members or supporters of the Alphabet Mafia. But anyways, yeah, these people in Michigan, North Carolina, Utah, and Minnesota, yes, they did absolutely horrendous things, especially in God's house. And they have to meet their maker, and hopefully they're a little bit warm. But anyways, if you look at the overall statistics, here's one to grab you. In 2022, the murder rate amongst blacks is 635% higher than the murder rate for whites. The murder rate for Hispanics is 65% higher than it is for whites, and these numbers are an outlier. From 1990 through 2022, the black murder rate average is 569% higher than whites. And then, black males make about 6.5% in the entire population, but they're responsible for 50% of all violent crimes. Now, if that doesn't convince you, well, just go online and go to YouTube, look up violence at Chuck E. Cheese. You got dozens of videos with black people getting violent at Chuck E. Cheese. Fortunately, for the years I went to Chuck E. Cheese and the thousands of dollars I spent at Chuck E. Cheese, I did not see any violence at Chuck E. Cheese. Or you look up YouTube once again, look up violence at Popeyes. Remember a bunch of years ago, people were getting murdered over a chicken sandwich at Popeyes. Or you look up Wisconsin parade violence. We got the anniversary of the gentleman driving through a parade at Waukesha, Wisconsin, mowing down white people. He was a black gentleman. They forgot about that. And anyways, we come back, we'll talk about, we'll get Walter's take on Don Lemon and white men. Stay tuned, everybody. This is 7.5 Radio on Liberty News Radio Network.
How would you like to help this program reach more people and earn silver at the same time? Call or text 801-669-2211 for complete details.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mary Rose. RNC Chairman Joe Gruters says Democrats are solely responsible for this government shutdown.
And look what's happened over the last 4 years. The 30 states that track voter registration, we've picked up 4.6 million voters. And it's not an accident. People are rejecting these far-left woke policies.
Grutter says what he sees as a leftward direction in the Democrat Party will give Republicans an edge in next year's midterm elections.
You got to look at the midterms coming up and the fact that the incumbent party's 2-39 in these off-cycle elections, so the headwinds are against us. But I think we have a real opportunity to continue to build with the base and build with our, hold the majorities of both the House and the Senate based on things like what the Democrats are doing right now with the shutdown.
One of the casualties of the government shutdown is the monthly jobs report. White House correspondent Greg Clugston explains.
The Labor Department typically releases its monthly job numbers on the first Friday of the month, but that report on economic data is being delayed amidst the ongoing shutdown. A short delay won't be very disruptive, but a long absence of those numbers could pose challenges, particularly for the Federal Reserve. The Fed relies on jobs data as it grapples with interest rates amid a slowing labor market. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is on the verge of a deal with Hamas to bring all the hostages home. In a televised speech today, he cautioned it's not yet final yet, but he believes Israel is on the verge of a great achievement and is exerting every effort to make it happen. Netanyahu spoke following reports that Israeli airstrikes killed 6 people in Gaza hours after President Trump called for a halt in bombing. These strikes came after Hamas said Friday it had agreed to release hostages. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Whether you're preparing for exams, juggling family, career, just looking to stay sharp as you age, Think Factor is here. Think Factor, created by the same company that makes Relief Factor, Think Factor supports sharper focus, stronger recall, clearer thinking. It's a natural way to give your brain the daily nutrients it needs for memory, attention, even vibrant vision. I've been looking for a product like Think Factor, and it's been a game changer in my life. If you want to stay focused during demanding tasks like I do, if you want to keep your memory strong, like I do, if you want to maintain mental energy for whatever's ahead, Think Factor is here. Think Factor is for you. Think Factor, from the makers of Relief Factor. Call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800-4RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com to order Think Factor. That's 800-4RELIEF, or go to ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com to order Think Factor. Your first bottle, just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better, daily.
Why don't we say to the government writ large that they have to spend a little bit less? Anybody ever had less money this year than you had last? Anybody ever having a 1% pay cut? You deal with it. That's what government needs, a 1% pay cut. If you take a 1% pay cut across the board, you have more than enough money to actually pay for the disaster relief. But nobody's going to do that because they're fiscally irresponsible. Who are they? Republicans. Who are they? Democrats. Who are they? Virtually the whole body is careless and reckless with your money. So the money will not be offset by cuts anywhere. The money will be added to the debt, and there will be a day of reckoning. What's the day of reckoning? The day of reckoning may well be the collapse of the stock market. The day of reckoning may be the collapse of the dollar. When it comes, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it has happened repeatedly in history when countries ruin their currency.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever.
This is a battle between truth and deceit. A battle between forces that would enslave this country in darkness and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in fact.
TheEpochTimes.com.
Wow, you're still listening? Here's more 7-5 Radio.
Hey, we are back. Scoop Stand with Walter Yerkew talking about Don Lemon hates white men unless they're doing something to him. But anyways, we went over the statistics for black crime versus statistics on white crime. Well, what say you about Don Lemon drop about his hatred towards white men unless they're doing something to him?
He's an idiot. He's been on television way too long. He's put himself up on a pedestal, and people that he worked with, or he used to work with at CNN, pacified him while he put himself up on this pedestal. And when push came to shove, or push came to entry, he is not the person that everybody thought he was. He's not that smart. He really isn't. He asks inane questions. He asks questions that, have two answers. And if you don't answer, and you're from the right, and you don't answer, the way he tried to get you into a corner, you're a fascist. So, the man is just, is all about himself. He's all about 15 minutes of fame as many times a day as he can get in there. If you notice, nobody else has hired him. He usually does the hiring when he's out of town. He's just a man who's annoying. Kind of like, version of Joy Behar. Just an annoying person. And people that put up with annoying people are annoying. So as far as I'm concerned, they could take their annoying asses and get the hell out of my life.
Right. Well, that's the great thing about this country and the modern technology. Like, if we're on YouTube and Don Lemon is spewing some trash, guess what? You can click something else, like 7-5 Radio. Or if we're watching regular TV and The View sitting there cackling, like a bunch of hens like kissing Kamala Harris's ass, guess what? We can change the channel. But, well, you bring up a good question. I've been to, Don Lemon and The View, they just say some off-the-wall things. Is it me, or are they doing this just to get clicks or get people stirred up, or do you think they actually believe the garbage that comes out of their mouths, which is actually just absolutely ridiculous what they've been spewing for years?
No, I don't think they believe what they say. I really don't. I really don't, because it's all about money. It's all about fame, like that 15 minutes of fame. That's what the left is about right now. They're trying to stay in the headlines. The old saying in Hollywood, well, they're talking bad about you, yeah, but they're still talking about me. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't give them, any more airtime than necessary, other than what we're doing to them right now. But, as far as Don Lemon goes, he hates white men, like I said, unless he's doing something to them or they're doing something to him. So, how does his wife feel about it? He's a white man.
Who, Lemon or his husband?
His husband, his wife.
Well, I think I think Lemon's the wife in that relationship, because one thing I've noticed about the relationships with the homosexual couples, one does take the patriarchal role, and one does, in fact, take the matriarchal role. At my other job, there's a couple, two ladies, and one lady's very feminine. For the longest time, she was dating dudes, but I guess she, now plays for the other team. But very feminine, looks, always well-dressed and has makeup, this and the other thing. Meanwhile, the other side just looks like a long-haul trucker. Just big, butch, deep voice, always yelling and screaming. Nothing feminine about this lady whatsoever. But I think in the case of Lemon family, I think Don takes the matriarchal role. But anyways, enough about that. Next story is DEI goes haywire. In Des Moines, Iowa, the school board looked far and wide for the perfect candidate for the superintendent of the public school system, and they found him, Dr. Ian Roberts. Now, Dr. Roberts is an immigrant from Guyana, so all the students of color in the Des Moines, Iowa school system has a role model they can look up to. And Dr. Roberts has done wonders making a name for himself in the Des Moines school system. Recently, he was arrested after fleeing a traffic stop. He was charged with possession of firearms. Now, the reason why he was charged for possession of firearms because he is an illegal alien. And according to federal law, illegal aliens are prohibited from possessing firearms. Now, Roberts has a student visa from 1999 and just may have overstayed his welcome just a little bit because he has a final deportation order that was issued in 2024, and he's still here. Now, for exercising his Second Amendment rights, Dr. Roberts' firearms were found in his home and in the vehicle that the school board gave him. So I guess the Des Moines School Board or Des Moines school buildings are gun-free zones, but Des Moines school vehicles are not gun-free zones, as this legal aliens drive around with the pistoli in his car. And then Dr. Roberts claims he is an educated man with a doctorate degree from Morgan State University, as well as attending MIT, Harvard, and Georgetown. Absolutely amazing. But the only problem is that Morgan State University denies that he's earned a PhD, and the other schools mentioned, MIT, Harvard, and Georgetown, has no record of his attendance, let alone his completion of these courses. Now, Dr. Roberts, or now Mr. Roberts, is an exemplary supervisor as he was looking to promote females while running a school system in Pennsylvania. And he was promoting females, firing males, demoting males, and this resulted in a $400,000 worth of settlements. So $400,000 for this small school system in Pennsylvania went towards to these employees that were wrongly fired, wrongly demoted, wrongly passed over for promotions. So $400,000 worth of books that the kids weren't able to see, $400,000 worth of computers not there. $400,000 could have improved the infrastructure of the school system. Nope, because of Mr. Roberts. And I say that the white people in Detroit just can't stand the fact that a black man became successful on his own merit. But anyways, if you look at pictures of this Roberts character, his hair it looks like he has female hair. It looks like he's walking around with check hair, even though he's got a goatee. But anyways, in other news, 75 Radio is proud to announce its newest family member. He does have a PhD in communications from the University of California at Berkeley and has the highest rated show in New York on 77 WABC. It is none other than Ian Roberts. I looked at his background, and he has a high-rated radio show on 77 WABC in New York. So anyways, just a hot mess. Walt, what say you about Mr. Roberts driving around a school vehicle with a pistol and should have been deported last year?
Well, and what people aren't reading or understanding is that the deportation was ordered during the Biden administration. Mr. Trump got nothing to do with it. The school where the school system where he was superintendent, obviously didn't vet him very well. He may have been a world-class athlete, like they say, and participated, in the Olympics and won a medal here and there and such. But he just kind of stayed here when we let him in. He just kind of stayed here. And here he is making $300,000 a year on a student visa.
Nice.
So, I think it's fraud is what he's committed, is fraud, and he is an illegal alien. Therefore, he's a criminal. Therefore, he gets taken out of the country in handcuffs and drop him off somewhere else.
Right. But, did you check it? Did you look at his other charges he's had since he's been in the U.S.?
Besides being ugly? No.
Yeah, he also likes the narcotics. Anyways, we'll come back. We'll finish up with special month in radio. Stay tuned, everybody.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Attention collectors and savvy investors. We are excited to announce a momentous evolution in our journey. Introducing Freewater Coin Company, formerly known as Rust Coin and Gift. This rebranding takes us back to the very roots of where it all began, Freewater, Oregon. It's a tribute to the legacy of Al Rust and a celebration of 3 generations of dedication to excellence in the world of coins and precious gifts. Al, Brian, and Jake Rust standing strong through 64 years of service. Discover a world of exceptional service at Freewater Coin Company, your premier destination for genuine, honest money and precious gifts. Under Brian's expert guidance, Freewater Coin Company, building on the legacy of Rust Coin and Gift, continues its tradition of trust and excellence. Visit us at our Provo, Utah location. Explore our treasures online at freewatercoinco.com or call us at 801-377-1574. Freewater Coin Company, where your future is built one honest coin at a time.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
This is 7.5 Radio with Walter Yuku. Walter Yurkow. Walter Kiwi. Here's Walton Scoop.
Anyways, we are back, and I was doing my due diligence, looking at the awesome Instagram account of our spokesmodel, Danila Rodrigues. Follow her at DanilaRodrigues.model on Instagram. That's DanilaRodrigues.model on Instagram. And, every week I have the daunting task of picking the photo for the archives. And just some of these photos just, oh my goodness, look it up yourself. But anyways, finally, I want to talk about the month of October. To me, October is a very special month in radio, in the history of radio, because 3 groundbreaking events occurred in October that made the radio industry better. Because right now, radio is going through a pretty tough time because podcasting just eating up the competition, and then you got YouTube and TikTok and everybody else doing their thing out there, and Rumble, and also we shoot ourselves in the foot, but that's a whole nother story. But anyways, 3 very special events happened in October, and I'm involved with 2 of them. The first is that in 2004, the political cesspool is born. October 26, 2004, the most hated, controversial show on the radio makes its debut. Anyways, this show, The Political Cesspool, was trying to make America great 11 years before Donald Trump rode down the escalator. And this month, the Political Cesspool is celebrating 21 years on the radio. Hopefully James has me on later this month so I can talk about just the journey we've been through. Last year I talked about the people that has been on the cesspool, the events that we've done. But this year I want to talk about the road that we've paved. And we did pave it with the help of Donald J. Trump. But stay tuned later this month for myself on the Political Cesspool. Also, it is because of the Political Cesspool that I am now hosting 7-5 Radio. We are a spinoff of the Political Cesspool, and I shall always be the Washington, D.C. correspondent for the Political Cesspool until either called home to the Lord or James Edwards says my services are no longer needed. Anyways, the second biggest thing in the radio industry was Danila Rodrigues joins 7-5 Radio to become the world's first radio spokesmodel. As you know, this is radio, but with the advent of technology, people are seeing more and more people doing so-called radio. So I met Danila a couple years ago, and obviously gorgeous woman, great personality. She's got great voice. She's got plenty of sass. She brings plenty of class to the show. And then I said, what's something different we can do for 7-5 Radio that nobody else is doing besides bringing Walter on from the movie The 7-5, working the 7-5 precinct, and a whole bunch of other things. I said, radio spokesmodel, that should work. Let's see how that works. So I said, Danila, would you like to become the spokesmodel for 7-5 Radio? And I was floored when she said yes. And I'm still floored. She's still with us for 2 years. So anyways, that's a great thing. In October, we brought Danila on, become the world's first radio spokesmodel. She's been mentioned in Talkers Magazine twice. Right now, James Edwards 0. I'm 0, Walter 0. I think everybody else in this network is 0, except, Ms. Rodrigues has been mentioned twice. And then finally, Jocktober. Jocktober is the greatest radio bit in the history of this business. Now, for decades, you had rock stations celebrate what they call Rocktober, where rock stations would highlight an artist for that day during the month of October that were pioneers in the rock and roll field. And then Greg Opie Hughes and Anthony Cumia came up with a bit that they called Jocktober, where they would pull footage from AM radio or FM radio from shows across the country and in Canada that follows the same format. You got a guy and a girl, or two guys and a girl, and the guy's a little bit wacky, and the girl they nicknamed the Hole because she's just a black hole, just sucks all the fun out of the room. And these guys shine a light on the industry, how hacky it is, how safe they have to be, or they're going to get pulled. They do this. These stations in different markets do the same bits using services like Pret Burger, or then they have stupid contests like the Fugitive, and they just totally tear them apart. And then the fans, listening to Opie and Anthony do their Jocktober bit, they go on the Facebook page of the show that's being torn apart and actually put horrible things, disgusting pornographic pictures, foul language. Also, they put mention things that only Opie and Anthony fans would know about. So, anyways, I would get, years ago when Opie and Anthony were still on the air, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning after work until like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, get home, finally bed like 1:32, and fire up my computer and listen online, and just couldn't wait until they started ripping into somebody. But again, this was one of the greatest radio bits in the history of radio, in my opinion. They shine a light like what's wrong with this industry, and nothing's been changed except both Opie and Anthony are no longer on together on Sirius XM. But Anthony does have a show on WABC in New York, so karma has no end date, as J.B. Gunner likes to say. But Walter, what say you about the three biggest things in radio that happened to occur in October?
The three biggest things that happened in radio in October.
Right.
Well, Danila's been with us, for 2 years already?
Yep.
Okay. You got the cesspool, and you got us. So, what else is there?
No, it's October. The Opie and Anthony bet that they do every month.
You got me there, buddy. You got me there, man.
But anyways, Walt,
I got nothing.
Oh, okay, outstanding. But anyways, well, thanks to you, agreeing to come on 75 Radio, we got this off the ground, and then how long? So she's been on. So we've been doing this 5.5 years before. I reached out to Danila. I said, worst things she could say is no, and just block me on social media and block me on her phone and file a restraining order. But she is a trooper, sticking us for 2 years to stick. So she lives the closest out of anybody. The poor lady's got to deal with me all the time. So I'm surprised she hasn't asked for hazardous duty pay. But anyways, we got a couple minutes left. We got a big Halloween show coming up on November the 1st. I'll be doing it live from the home of Luciano De La Torre. Don't know if Ed Huebner, our field producer, is going to be there, or Danila going to show up. I'm sure they will. But it's every time we do a show at Luciano's house, it is just a home run. So then we could ask, like, Danila, why are you still here after 2 years? We're awful. We're awful people. And one of us likes to stalk you. But anyways, but we're going to do a hell of a show on November the 1st. And this year I got invited to back-to-back Halloween parties. Our friend Dan Ruttenberg, he's having a Halloween blowout, and then Luciano, then the very next day, is having a blowout. So it's like, it's almost going like back-to-back Super Bowls, or like going to a Rolling Stones concert in 69 or 70, and then going to a Led Zeppelin concert. So anyways, we'll talk about that. Also, what else going on? I'll be bringing a couple of guests coming on. We're going to bring Barry Morgenstein on, talk about his book, which is a coffee table book about musicians he's photographed. Of course, I forgot the goddamn name of the book. I've been texting Barry and booking him this, that, and the other thing. So, and then this outfit called Best of New Jersey was going to book him, and then one of the producers did a background, read some of Barry's social media, and Barry's last name is Morgenstein, so he is a Jewish gentleman.
He's good with money.
No, I don't know, but anyways, he's a follower of the Jewish faith, so he's got some opinions about what's going on in the Middle East, and so they said, "Oh, we're not gonna have you on." I'm like, "What's he Tango Foxtrot?" I mean, the guy's coming on to promote his book about rock and roll stars. He's gonna talk about photography and rock and roll. And anyways, so the best of New Jersey is the worst of New Jersey. They can go pound sand, but we're gonna have him on. And anyways, for Walter Yerkew, this is Peter Scoops, and of course, hogging all the airtime, reminding you can make a difference. Go out and make it. See you next week, everybody.
Edwards for 7-5 Radio. For those who work the streets and the jails, thanks for keeping us safe. So long, everybody.